You and guys, we're going to be talking about rickets and rickets diagnosis, and it's me and diagnoses, how to diagnose rickets. And again, guys, I mean loads of mnemonics. So we're gonna have over here loads of mnemonics of rickets, and we're going to be talking about that. So first of all, I just want to speak about what even is rickets. Okay, so rickets is going to be basically, it's a softening, the weakening of the bone, especially in children, and that's going to be because of the deficiency of vitamin D. Okay, vitamin D. But that's really like a complicated definition. I just want to make it quite simple for you, like the weakening, softening, whatever. It basically means low quality of bone. That's very simple. Okay, it's a simple definition. Low quality of bone. The bone, and this is in children, by the way. This is mainly in children. Okay, of course, won't be in adults. Okay, so how are we gonna make the diagnosis over here? So the way I like to approach anything, so especially when doing liver failure or like anything, I try to go A B C D E F G. Okay, so for example, in the scenario of liver failure, I would go like the A as in albumin, B as in bilirubin, C as in coagulation screening, D as in I'm not exactly sure, some drug toxicology, E as in maybe to check estrogen, F as in like A B C D E F. That's how I do liver failure, and that's how I kind of approach any lab type of thing. But the way I like to approach the rickets is kind of the same thing. So A as in alkaline phosphatase. So as we spoke over here, that the bone is going to be the main thing that's going to be damaged over here. And if you were to look at the pathophysiology uh, of the rickets, so the rickets pathophysiology is basically your bone is not really getting really mineralized. Okay, so it's not really getting mineralized, and the reason I'm bringing in pathophysiology is because I really help us to kind of figure the diagnosis. So over here, there's a defect in vitamin D and its receptors, and we have hypophosphatemia. So over here, there's an inability or the of activation of vitamin D, vitamin D. So vitamin D receptor might not be working, or one of the enzymes responsible for vitamin D metabolism may not be working. So therefore, you won't be able to deposit that phosphate, and you won't really be able to kind of make that strong bone. And that's really important, because when your bone is not as strong, your bone starts to kind of break down, and a really big enzyme that kind of gets elevated is called alkaline phosphatase. So when does alkaline phosphatase increase? That's going to be when there's bone breakdown. Okay, there's bone breakdown. So this is during child puberty due to bone growth and development. So again, sorry, I didn't mean to say bone breakdown, rather bone kind of growth and some sort of bone problems. We kind of have that kind of release of the alkaline phosphatase. Addition to that, vitamin D levels is going to be kind of quite low. Another thing that will be quite low, if vitamin D is being quite low, calcium will also be low. Another thing over here is parathyroid hormone and the phosphate. Again, this is going to be low again. We're not be able to mineralize our bone, and also over here we're going to have an increased parathyroid response, because we're kind of that low calcium. We kind of want the parathyroid to kind of be increased, and due to that, we will have it's a phosphate transit hormone. So what is the effect of parathyroid hormone on calcium? So basically, it's mainly released when we have high amount of it is increasing. These regulates calcium levels, so increasing the levels when they are low. So when the calcium is kind of low, it is going to be responsible for kind of increasing the levels of the calcium. So increasing calcium, but we decrease phosphate. So here, in response to low calcium, we have increase in phosphate, and that's another reason for phosphate going low. So these are your diagnoses on labs. But I want to come into imaging, and the mnemonic, the way I kind of learn is MOM, MOM. And the reason I do that is because rickets occurs in young kids. And the reason it occurs in young kids, I mean we spoke about the reason, but the main thing, that if it's a young kid, he's gonna come with his mother or his mom. So M as in metaphysical cupping or flaring. So this is gonna be in the wrist and the ulna. So this, for example, my wrist over here. You're gonna see on an X-ray, it's me quite widen on an anterior posterior X-ray when you were to take it, quite widening. So that's mean cupping or flaring. Okay. So again, over here is when cupping metaphysis drops inwards towards the diaphysis, and you make a cup, like a cup shape. So like your metaphysis is going to be kind of coming inwards and around the diaphysis, and makes a cup shape, flaring around the metaphysis, so they may be widening over here. So we can quickly look at the image of the cupping radius, but it's quite a simple image regardless. So we can see over here it's kind of cupping inwards, and we can see the flaring on the sides. The over here, so we said metaphyseal cupping and flaring. The over here is mean osteopenia. So osteopenia means low bone density because we're not able to have that much phosphate and calcium. The other M is going to be the metaphyseal frying. So metaphyseal frying. We have irregular or the irregular metaphysis. So recall the bone structure. There's epiphysis, there's metaphysis. There's epiphysis, there's physis itself, metaphysis, and the diaphysis. So the metaphysis is kind of the middle part, and it's me having quite irregularity. It's bowing of the legs. So this is quite a classical sign on X-ray. On AP X-ray, we can see this bowing of the legs. We may get pseudofractures as well. So this is going to be often if superior and inferior bone, pubic bone rami. Pseudofractures are not any sort of bone breaks down, but rather that it kind of your bone, it kind of decreases in density, and there may be some thickening of the periosteum. So it may look like your bone is somewhat cracked up, but in reality it's more like thickening of your periosteum. So guys, that's a quick thing about the rickets. Rickets is mean low quality of your bone, and that is due to the fact that you have no amount of that's due to the fact that you have no type of you have no phosphate or vitamin D. Labs is going to be your alkaline phosphatase, your vitamin D, calcium, phosphate, alkaline phosphatase, and then the diagnosis is going to be your mom, so the mnemonics mom, metaphyseal cupping flaring, osteopenia, and metaphyseal the irregularities of frying. So yeah guys, hopefully if you guys found this useful, this is a quick video on diagnosis. If you guys found this useful, thank you for watching. Leave a question down below if you have any questions. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you guys next time.